Okay, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today, wherever you're at, on your couch, on your phone, on your TV, on your computer. Thank you. I appreciate you being here. I know this is coming a little late, like yesterday did, but this is a drive and talk. A drive on the way home from work, because today it was real feel, your extremities fall off. That's the temperature today. So there you go. This will be a short one. I don't have a lot to say today at this point, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about the adventure I went on Friday and what's happened since then. And I have you stationary right there as I'm talking to you. And again, I appreciate you listening to me, but I have you stationary right there so I don't have to, move you around or move myself around and get myself in trouble here as I'm driving. So anyways, there is a tremendous amount of snow everywhere, and it is single digit cold. Of course, everyone knows it's the talk of the entire country, the entire nation, talking about this superstorm that we just got over the weekend in the Northeast and previously in the South. For those of you in the South, you got more ice, we got more snow, and most people seemingly were off work, and a lot of kids are off school, as well as my wife, who works for my local school district. She is off school right now because the road conditions were really iffy, and they were concerned about sending buses and employees coming to work and all that kind of stuff. So that's what happened there. Also, the cold temperatures, and all week the cold temperatures are going to be below zero at times here in central Pennsylvania. So I expect there will be delays aplenty. Anyways, the adventure I went on Friday to go to back to Toe Hill and film. It was interesting because when I got back there, the conditions were way different than when I took you there earlier last week. There was snow all over the ground, obscuring everything. And, it wasn't a big deal. The trails were clearly marked, and you could see a lot of foot traffic on the trails from people that were walking their animals, their dogs, up in that area. And so that wasn't really a problem. I did not get to see everything I wanted to see necessarily, just because of the cold temperatures and because of the conditions, the wind, and so on and so forth. But I got to tell the main story I wanted to tell. That story is the first America 250 that will be coming this Sunday. Yes, this Sunday that will be premiering. It's an interesting story, one that covers industrial, I don't want to say that. It covers significant portions of this nation as far as history goes. Part of it deals with slavery. abolition and history in general. Then it transitions to an industrial site. Now, to my knowledge, there weren't any slaves in that area. The slavery was not really a core part of central Pennsylvania at that time. There just wasn't enough wealth here. And also, a lot of the immigrants were typically Irish, Scottish, German, not people with money, not people that had slaves. And the entire institution of slavery was probably more of a city thing in the north and plantations in the south, obviously. Horrible nonetheless, but just saying that that wasn't really, it wasn't slavery per se as a practice here. This story will have to do with people trying to get away or getting away from slavery. There's a lot of speculation. I am not a historian. And this story that I'm telling this weekend, I'm not saying I'm taking some liberties. There are some facts to back up some of the things that I'm going to say. And there will be some references, of course, pointing to where that information came from. Again, I'm telling a story, so there's not solid evidence for everything. Not everything is 100% foolproof, as is the case with history, particularly when there's not a lot of written information and places to research facts out there. What we do know is a lot of relationships and land ownership and things like that. So that's what a lot of stuff is based on, genealogy and whatnot, census data. And so that's really where I'll be going with this, because we know that something was there, we know what was there, and we can fill in the blanks a little bit there. So that's basically where the story comes from there. Now later, when it comes to the industrial stuff and it comes to some of the other things, mining and all those types of things, we know, we have data that tells us who owned the place, who mined the place, how they did it. There's actually, and I'll just say it now, I did find ruins. I found remains of some of the mining operation. Not what I wanted necessarily, and not what I expected to find, because I know there's something there. I don't know where it is, but I know there's some ruins there that I did not find. Now, for those of you paying attention to this that are maybe more local, if any of you are, I am not talking about Scotia. This is Toe Hill. This vlog will not be about Scotia in Pennsylvania. That is part 2. Part 2 of this will be Scotia, but unfortunately I'm not going to be able to get there to do this Scotia vlog until everything melts. And if you live in the Northeast, in the mountains, a foot of snow isn't going to melt in a month. So unfortunately, the Scotia vlog, the Andrew Carnegie site, all these things, I'm not going to be able to cover that till later. The nice thing about that is when I get back there, a lot of the visuals will be great. I mean, stuff will be melted a little bit, so there won't be greenery obscuring stuff. Some of the pools where some of the mining went on will be filled up with melt, and be able to see, I'm anticipating being able to see good stuff. Scotia is a ghost town, for those of you that don't know, and a mining site, much like Toe Hill was, but a much larger site. There's not a ton of stuff left. There's stuff left from a later mining operation, but most of the stuff at Scotia is foundations and things like that, ghost town foundation type stuff. There was a company town there. There was a company store and a school and things like that. And we'll be talking about that, but most people that do videos there show later mining from World War II. I'm not really interested in that too much because that's fairly new. The stuff that I found at Toe Hill is like 1880s, and that's what I'm interested in finding at Scotia as well. Now, if I could have found cabin remains or something like that for the site that I'm actually talking about, which I don't actually know where it is specifically, I know roughly where it is, and there's nothing there remaining. There's no ruins or anything. It was nature has completely taken it back. If I could have found that, that would have been something, because that was specifically built, we know, in the 1820s or so, and the people there left in the, right as the mining was coming in. So anyways, that's a little bit of an update here on a Tuesday on the way home from work about what Sunday will look like as far as the vlog. The vlog will be largely concentrating, it'll be two eras, but mostly one era. I'm pretty excited to show it to you. I don't know what everyone's expectation will be, and I don't expect it to do very well on YouTube. I don't really care. Like I said, I've always said I'm not monetized. This is a hobby for me. That's all it is. I love the fact that, I love when 5 people watch a vlog. That means somebody's watching it, somebody is paying attention, somebody's listening. This one, I hope a little bit more, maybe 20, 25. I'd be excited over that. But this is one for a long-term deal. It's going to be there long-term. People will hear about Toe Hill eventually, hopefully, and start to explore and really get curious about it, because it's a heck of a story to tell. It really is. And I think I'm going to return to Toe Hill a number of times in the future. At least 2 times I want to come back there. Not maybe this year. Maybe I will go back this year. We'll see. But I want to find some more ruins. I want to find more things that I didn't find, and I want to tell more of the story. Now, hopefully somebody comes along the way that knows a little bit more about Toe Hill than I do, and about the families involved there, and about the story of the settlers, the original settlers there, and a little bit more about the mining, perhaps, and can fill in some blanks. And heck, I'd even be willing to go back out there with somebody if they know more than I do and they really want to fill in the gaps of the story and tell more of it. I would love that. That would be so great, because I think there's so much more story to tell there than what I'm going to be able to tell on Sunday. Anyways, I'm going to tell what I can. I'm going to tell the story of there that I can. It's incomplete, and it always will be incomplete. And honestly, unless people are able to really do some archaeological digs there and find things that are there that I'm not capable of doing, finding, or some other people that research or their families live there or whatever, had lived there, or just people pass stories down through the ages. Heck, I hope I get comments. Like, just the comments alone are going to be great. Anyways, that's really all I wanted to talk about. Just excited. I'm going to be editing that vlog throughout the week and doing different things with it, and putting everything into overdrive in the weekend, and then really delivering it to you on Sunday. I cannot wait. I can't wait for y'all to see it. Very excited about that. We'll see. Hopefully it lives up to people's expectations. It will never live up to mine, because that's the creator. That's the way people that create things, that's the way it is. Anyways, that's going to do it for today. On my way home, just wanted to talk a little bit. So, dreams, grass, churros, is that the order? I don't remember what the order is. Does it really matter? Probably not to anyone. But that's the exit. So it's time for me to get back to driving and say adieu.